You are listening to the Rachael Maves Podcast, and I'm Rachael Maves, your host. This podcast is part of the lead up to the upcoming Measure What We Value Summit, scheduled for February 5th through 6th, 2025 in Fresno, California. The summit emphasizes honoring and amplifying student voices, fostering inclusive classrooms, and equipping educators with tools for impactful change. You can find more information at parsecsummit.com. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Timi Ilori. Timi is an accomplished ninth grade student that currently attends Liberty High School located in Madera, California. She is involved in multiple extracurricular activities such as piano, soccer, and track. Timi has a passion for academic excellence and community involvement, which is why she is a member of leadership at her school. Recently, Timi received the Madera County Community and Academic Achievement Award from the Madera County Superintendent of Schools. When she is not studying or volunteering, Timi loves spending time with her friends, playing soccer, and going to the park. Her care for her community and devotion to her talents are what has gotten her here today. Timi, thank you for joining me, and I'm so excited to have you on the podcast today.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
So you're my first student that gets to join and talk a little bit about your story, who you are, the summit. And I'd love for us to kick off with you just sharing a little bit about yourself. And I'd love to hear what brings you joy, either going to school or just in life every day.
Yeah, so as you already know, I'm a freshman at Liberty High School. And one of the reasons I really like sports and leadership is because of my friends and the connections I make when I'm there. So one of the things that just brings me joy in school and in life are my friends and just connections in general. So just having fun with the people around me and just creating a good community environment in sports especially, it brings me a lot of joy in school and in life.
Oh, I love that. So when you think about, you're pretty involved in sports and academics in your school. What is one thing that you really enjoy? Is it on the leadership side? Is there a class that you love? Is it soccer? Is there one that really stands out for you?
Probably the one that stands out the most is probably soccer, especially right now because I'm in season. And also just because, I don't know, playing on a team can just really help create a really good community. Even if you wouldn't have necessarily been friends with them before, it creates friendships that last a really long time because you are on a team. So I would say that stands out the most. But everything's really important to me, but I think that is just one of the most important things, and it's available to really everyone. I feel like leadership, you kind of have to have good grades, but also you have to have a motivation to want to do this after school stuff, activity planning and stuff. But soccer, it's about having a passion for the sport and your team. So it's something that I think anyone can do, really.
Yeah, I love that. And what I hear you saying too is that you get to connect with people outside of your friend group in soccer, right?
Exactly, yeah.
It spans, your circle a little bit. When you think about just soccer in general and the team and teamwork, what do you feel like you've learned from being in sports?
I think I've learned really just how to be on a team and what the importance of being on a team can bring you in life. Because really, when you're on the field and you're on your team, you're doing everything for your team. So it just teaches you commitment and loyalty, and it teaches you how to be a good friend. It teaches you how to be a hard worker because getting up in the morning for practice, staying after school for practice, and still keeping up your grades. That teaches you how to be just a hard worker and also support your team.
Yeah, that discipline and patience. Yeah. And fun, hopefully. Are you enjoying it? It's not fun too? Yeah.
That's the only reason most people are in soccer, to have fun, really, because it's not that likely that a lot of people playing in high school are they're not necessarily even playing to go professional, maybe some not even to college, but they are there in that moment and they're trying to put their best effort into it and they're having fun with their friends. So yeah, I definitely have fun. I think everyone there actually really likes it.
I love that. Well, Timi, you're going to be speaking at our summit, which I'm so excited about, and talk about a lot of bravery and courage for a freshman coming and willing to share your story and your thoughts. So can you give us just kind of a sneak peek without giving everything away? Just a sneak peek about your topic, school, what's really important, and what you're going to be discussing at the Measure What We Value Summit?
Yeah, so pretty much like the main thing that I will be talking about is that what's really important, I think, is human connection. So one of the things I'm actually going to be sharing about is 2020 COVID season and how that shows us how important human connection really is and how we should be putting that into the school system more than it is right now. Because in 2020, it was very obvious that without that human connection, I mean, everything for everyone was just terrible. Really, everyone was depressed, unmotivated, and the same was for kids and teachers. So no one was really learning in that time period. So that's a little bit about what I'll be mostly talking about. I'll just be talking about how what's really important is human connections and how school can provide that human connection for kids and how we should be building off of that and making the school system so that kids can connect with each other and learn that way rather than like kind of more individual and just lecturing and just textbooks.
Yeah. So it sounds like kind of two key topics. One is the importance of relationships in the classroom between teachers and students, but then students with one another. But then also, like, how do we make classrooms more engaging with the student? And what does that mean and look like? When you think about your school experience, is there a way in which or a specific teacher that stands out that really has just done a great job of engaging students in a way that keeps you involved in class and excited?
Yeah, so I'm trying to think. Honestly, I think right now in high school, because I've only had my teachers for a semester. And really, I think that they each have a certain way that they have been engaging. So like, for example, in like English, I really liked when we did this project that was like kind of an infographic and steps to like become healthier and like whatever topic that you've picked. And she allowed us to move our seats and we can move next to our friends. But we actually, I like me and actually everyone else I noticed, actually use their friends to help each other out. And it also motivates you to want to go to class more because, well, you get to sit next to your friends and you get to do this project that's actually pretty fun for most people. Pretty, I wouldn't say easy, but it's definitely more fun. And even like just being able to talk with your friends about it and do that kind of stuff, like that's very engaging for kids. And I think that's one example.
Yeah. I love that. So it sounds like the part of what really stood out to you about that is that the teacher, like everybody had some parameters or some guidelines for the assignment, but it sounds like you got to choose what the focus area was, right? That was actually exciting to you. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. That's a mark of a good teacher. That's exciting. So when you think about school currently, what's one challenge that you faced and how did it shape your perspective and experience in education or even in the leadership roles that you're holding?
So one challenge I've always faced since I was very, very little is I always want to talk with everyone. And yeah, that's one of
The
my,
human connection and the friends. And
yeah. So actually, I remember the first time I ever went to the principal's office in first grade. And we were
principal to me.
I know, and we were sitting, I think it might have been the only time I went that like was like for like I was like crying because we were sitting on a mat in front of the projector, right? And we were doing yoga, like just for fun, like for a brain break, I think it was called. And the teacher was like doing whatever and she said namaste. And I remember saying, well, namaste to you too, or something like that. Like, I don't know, that was funny, but I said that. And that was my third strike of talking out of turn. And the teacher called the office and then I still remember that because I was so sad. I was like crying and all that stuff. But it just, it's just funny to me. And I mean, that problem stayed with me until, I mean, now, like, I still, I know how to respect the teacher, like, not talk when the teacher's talking and stuff. But like for a lot of kids, they have the same thing as me. Like, they just they really thrive off of human connection. So when that gets taken from them, it's very hard for them to learn. And I know that there are some people who are very shy, but what I've noticed is that even people who are shy, even they thrive off of human connection. So I think that's why it circles back to my point, like how I think that's really important to be put into school.
Yeah. So it sounds, what I'm hearing you say for like the educational lens and context is that you have this experience where there's this part of you that thrives on human connection and is wanting that in your class. And in that case and instance, it was almost seen as like a bad thing. It was like there's a time and a place and it's not here. And then how that impacted you. So when you think about just kind of your leadership right now and the work that you're doing in your school and even within your current classes, are there ways in which, like the example that you just gave with your English teacher, to help foster some of that opportunity for the connection that you see?
Yeah, I think the main ways that we can do this, which I think a lot of classrooms do, like occasionally here and there, is really not just group work, but I think group conversations. So like in class, let's say the teacher asks a question. Instead of, I really don't like the idea of raising your hand when it comes to middle school and up. I think kids should be taught if someone's talking, then you just need to stop, wait, and then you can respond to that instead of raising your hand while someone is talking. Like, it's just like when you get older and like into the real world, you're never going to raise your hand. So I think you should really, yeah, I think it should start being taught, like just to, wait until someone's done talking. And I think maybe one time in middle school, we were allowed to just like kind of talk regular, but it's hard for people like me too, like because we've always been taught to just, raise your hand. But really, I think we should be taught to have a conversation and those kind of things. It actually gets kids really actually engaged in it, is what I've noticed, because it's a lot more engaging than just having the teacher lecture the entire period, instead asking questions and letting kids respond instead of having to wait to raise your hand. You can wait till someone's done talking, then you can respond to that. I think that's one way.
Yeah. I like too the difference that you called out in between group work and actually being able to discuss thoughts and ideas. And it sounded like from what you shared with your ELA teacher, that was what being able to be around your friends provided. You guys weren't doing the group project together, right? But you're sharing your ideas and thoughts and getting their feedback, it sounded like. Is that
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. And you thrive off that. So when you think about that and you think about some of the quieter students, how do you feel like they get engaged in that setting?
Right.
Because we know you and that you're going to jump in and well, you have to say. But for those shy students that are a little bit more timid, what do you see as ways to bring them into that fold too?
Yeah, that's actually a really good question. So I think besides just listening and just being engaged by listening, I think they can also, like after that conversation, let's say the teacher allows you to get into smaller groups. I think that will make people who are like more shy, more willing to bring their ideas to the table, because, it's a lot to have to talk in front of an entire class. Instead, it would be a lot better if, let's say, they get paired like with, like, let's say, like one of their friends or something, and then they can share their ideas in that way. And that's a hard one, though, because really for people who are very shy like that, they're not going to want to really talk in that group setting. But I also think that as the class like goes on throughout the year, those people will actually be more willing to talk in those things. Like I've noticed that like when I was a lot younger, in class when we were allowed to do the group talking and all that, like a long time ago, like when I was in first grade, like that kind of thing. the kids who were really shy actually started to talk. And once you like make sure that setting is very comfortable for them. So
Yeah.
I think, yeah, that's what I would do.
Yeah. Well, I love what you're bringing in, this piece of if they feel validated, if they have the practice, if they have the opportunity, then it makes you braver and gives you more courage to jump in. And I bet you've seen that with soccer too, in your journey with soccer, huh? Like getting some wins and then making you more confident on the field. Yeah. So what advice would you give to other students who want to make a difference in their schools or communities?
So the advice I would give is that you need, I think, 3 main things if you want to really make a true difference or impact in your school or community. And those things are a goal, a plan, and most importantly, a purpose. Without one of those things, it will be very unlikely that anything will happen from, like, any difference will be made. I think that without a plan, you can't reach your goal. And without a purpose, you can't make a plan or a goal. So I think that it's important, first, find your purpose. Like, let's say anti-bullying or something like that. Something simple or broad like that. You need your purpose. So what's your purpose? To stop bullying or prevent bullying. Then you need to make a plan. What are you going to try to do to prevent this? What are you going to try to do to stop this? Let's say you want to, I don't know, create some kind of app or something that reports bullying. I'm not saying this is going to be very helpful. I'm just making up something. And then after that, even before or after, I think you can make your goal. And your goal can be, let's say, to have kids report the bullying and have teachers go off of that. Or your goal could be just to prevent bullying in general. But that's the steps I would take, really.
And I think that's brilliant. And I mean, you've kind of put together with the best thinking around actually moving towards and accomplishing the things that you want to accomplish for not just students, but for adults too. As you're in your leadership roles at school, are there things that you feel really driven towards or things that you're holding on to a specific purpose around? I'd love to hear what you're working on or drives you right now.
Yeah, so definitely the thing that makes me really want to be in leadership is student involvement. So I really want kids to actually have motivation to go to school and something fun to look forward to and something that they'll actually want to be involved in. Because for every kid, not every kid likes sports. So you have to try to make different clubs that they'll like to be a part of. And there are many clubs that a lot of kids who don't want to do sports will like let's say an art club or a chess club. If you create things like that and promote things like that, it'll make kids actually want to go to school so that after school or during school, when there's that club meeting, they have something to look forward to and they have something to go to school for and make friends and connections in.
Yeah, I love that, Timi. So we're going to wrap up, but the last question I want to ask you, and this wasn't one of the things that we sent you, so I hope it's okay that I put you on the spot. But when you think about the summit, what are you most excited for?
I'm most excited actually. I'm most excited to just be brave and share my ideas with a lot of people because I am kind of nervous because I know there's going to be a lot of people there, but I'm also excited because I know that I have put a lot of work actually into what I'm going to say. And I know that what I'm going to say is important to me and I want other people to hear it. So I would say I'm just most excited to share my ideas and really show myself that I can do this and I can be brave. Because originally when my dad told me he was like, oh, Timi, you can do this. I was like, I don't know. Because I was just so nervous. But he actually helped to convince me and the rest of my family, like, no, Timi, you should. And I was like, and this was very far away. Like, this was in like September or October, like a long time ago. But now I'm pretty confident and I'm excited. So I'm just excited to just show myself that I can be brave and do something that I never done.
Good for you, Timi. Well, we are all so excited to have you join us and to share your voice and your stories and the things that you're passionate about. So thank you. And thank you for your time today. This was fantastic.
Okay, thank you.
Parsec Education is hosting the Measure What We Value Summit on February 5th through 6th in Fresno, California. Join us for impactful conversations on empathy, engagement, hard truths, and more alongside leaders like Shaka Booker, Rich Stoll, Jamila Liscott, Pepper Miller, and student speakers like Liliana Sanchez and Timi Ilori. Tickets are limited, so make sure to secure your spot today. Get your tickets at parsecsummit.com.